Hello again, I'm Quinn, and this is not Bonsai. It is my weeping willow. And this was a pretty neat start to a tree and has grown so fast. It's really exciting. This is one of my more fun things to work on because they appear to be very resilient. They grow so fast. And willows are just one of my favorites. They look so nice. And this was just a cutting off of a branch. You can see here, and excuse me, here, I had chopped off a little branch with the Y, kind of starting myself with a little ramification. I did this maybe in July, 2 summers ago, so this isn't even 2 years old yet. And I put it in some water for just a few weeks maybe, and it grew roots, and I've planted it. I repotted it once without doing any root trimming, which I probably should have done, because I do recall seeing it had one very large root wrapping around the pot, so I'm thinking it's going to be quite the mess in here. But I have root pruned another one before. It recovered really well. I basically put it back down to cutting status. So these have been really easy to work on, and today I'm going to be doing quite a bit of trimming since I know they do grow quickly. I'm confident it'll just branch right back out, even though I already like kind of what it's doing here. And we're also going to repot it because this one, which I'll get a close-up on for you later, has definitely got green buds ready to go. It looked like I saw almost some leaves somewhere earlier. But let me do a little cleanup here. I want to save some of this moss, and you can probably see here I got some little mushrooms. I'll give you a close-up of those guys. I do want to try to save those as well for maybe it'll put some spores into my little moss container here, and I'll have a never-ending supply of cool mushrooms. I don't know. But we're going to save all this moss. This has grown really well. It likes all the water I give these willows. So I'll be right back. So, like I had said, these grow really well. I've been standing back pondering, do I just want to cut it back really hard to start getting tapering in these trunks? Or do I want to kind of set my base a little higher up? Because I don't mind if this is a little bit larger of a tree. I do like having kind of a lot of foliage with these willows. It is what looks nicest with them. And like I said, not being bonsai, I don't have to be terribly picky. I just want a nice tree to kind of have on my patio. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some of the bigger cuts that I know I want to do. Like, I definitely know I want to at least cut here. I want to cut this branch. Probably take this one off at the top here. And I'm going to definitely reduce this lower branch. So I'll do those cuts now. And I'll probably kind of stand back, give it another ponder. Ooh, this would make a pretty neat cutting if I can. Honestly, I hadn't even had that thought until I saw this one. I know they root so well, so maybe I'll throw him in some water here rather quickly. So we'll keep this one going out to the side. Maybe this other spot where a bud could come. Things seem to have zero problem back budding. I've mistreated one of my other willows quite a bit, and it's recovered really well. Let's see. I'm going to reduce this side branch a bit here. I'm sure I'll come back and take quite a bit more off, but I just want to do a roughish pruning of the larger branches. See maybe what we're possibly looking at for our next season. This, I imagine, will be our leader, so he can stay. He's got some branching coming off. Looks like there's been some dieback, which isn't terribly uncommon in willows. Another good reason to leave more as opposed to less branches. So I'll give this a look, see what I think, maybe clean up some of this dead stuff. And we'll have a good idea of kind of what we're looking at for the next season. So here's our little willow, all trimmed up. And really all I did was shorten all the branches and take out anything that was pointing inward or just going kind of too much straight up. And I'm liking how it turned out, and like I said, it should grow really well. And I'll probably have to trim it at minimum one time over the summer, just to kind of bring it back in to check a little, because they can go pretty crazy. So next, we'll get it out of the pot. I'll try to save a lot of this moss, maybe even these little shrooms here, and we'll get to work on the roots. So what I've been doing here is using my little tool to just gently kind of scoop the moss off the surface. But what I'd like to do, see if I can't get these little mushrooms and just put them over in my little moss tiny greenhouse thing I have. I'm not sure what to call it right now at the moment, but now I know obviously these mushrooms aren't going to last very long, but maybe they'll drop some spores into my dirt and I'll have a never-ending supply of neato-looking mushrooms? I don't know. Either way, I'm not just going to toss them out, right? So let's see if we can't extract these mushrooms and then just pop them right over into, oh no, nothing here. I think that went about as well as it could have. I'm going to keep just kind of peeling up this moss here and saving it. This came from under my trampoline as well, but last season, and it filled in just perfectly in the kind of shady conditions this willow provided for it. So I'll keep working away here, and we'll pop it out of its pot, see what we got down there. Got it popped out of its pot, which I did pretty easily. Take a look at the bottom here, and I'm honestly a little surprised it's not more packed in there. I don't know what this white is. Imagine it's related to the moisture, but I hope it's not affecting my root growth, because I really did expect quite a bit more, but let me get it raked out a little bit. We'll see what's going on down there. I'll tell you, that was quite the struggle. Apparently, the reason we didn't see any roots when I pulled the pot up was I had cut a screen out the entire circumference of the pot and placed it at the bottom, thinking something, and that stopped all the roots from coming through to the very bottom there. So it was quite a struggle getting that screen out. But it may have helped me. You know, if I'd left that screen, maybe those roots would have grown all into the hole and plugged it up, or yeah, I don't know. Either way, we got them cleaned out now. So, what we're going to do is just start taking off some of these real large ones that I probably should have taken off before. Like this one, he can go back pretty far. Might need my bigger cutters for that. That's good. Let's see. Got another big one here. He seems to be coming from, yeah, down low there. So let's, okay. We got another big one right here. Seems to be coming from the very base, so alright. some matted up roots. I feel like I lost quite a bit of roots in the descreening process. I may just leave it with those big ones. Get my scissors here. I'll just clean up some of these longer ones. Take a good look at the bottom here. See if I can get rid of any kind of extreme vertical growth. I feel like I mostly have done that. Maybe the screen did that. Maybe it was actually a blessing. Look at it from the top here. Everything's growing out readily enough for me. Still got a lot of fine roots left, so I think this one's going to do pretty good. Almost stand up. Alright, well, I'll prep a pot for it. I'll get him potted up. Let's get him filled in with a little soil. I'll take a good look at it. It's a nice deep pot for the roots to grow down into. This is one of those ones I got from the guy getting out of the hobby. I probably paid like $3 for it. I have a larger one that matches it. I don't imagine he'll live in here long. His roots grow pretty quickly. Getting into these bigger plants, they're requiring quite a bit more soil, so I'm glad I'm experimenting with some cheaper options. Get that worked in. Lots of air spaces, and this soil being wet isn't going to help me any, so just have to make sure I do a real good job of this. I'll come back in a minute, put some of that moss back on top, maybe even those mushrooms. Hopefully I have a nice new willow ready to go for spring. Okay. So this moss here is really interesting. It's kind of what got me started into moss so intently. It's these little, I call them feelers, so we're just going to call them feelers. I don't know what they are, but I can tell you that when they're active or alive, if you miss them, they just start wriggling around looking for that water source or humidity, and it is just the craziest little thing. They react so fast, and it kind of blew me away the first time I saw it because I was missing one of my trees and they went to wiggling around, and it really kind of confused me for a moment. So we're going to put them in there. I found them today, and hopefully they liven up and we can get some video of them doing their little wriggle business. So this one was in here before, so we'll just go ahead and put him back. I would like to kind of replace it with mostly its own old moss. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's got some beneficial bacteria this tree recalls. Oh no. poked my feelers. That's a nice, kind of bushy looking piece. We'll put this rock up there. This is a little bit different piece. We'll slide it up into there. I don't mind if it gets a little jungly looking. I just kind of like having the green down there. Looks way cooler than the perlite. Alright. Let's give them a good water. And I think my greenhouse is gonna stay warm enough, or I'm gonna make sure it stays warm enough. One of the two. I'm fairly confident it won't get below freezing again, so I don't have to worry about that. And it's not supposed to really dip too far down into the 30s much more here in my area. My greenhouse is pretty snuggled in between some other houses, so I think I'll be able to keep it warm enough to make sure everybody's nice and happy. So here we are, with our finished weeping willow, which I feel like's gonna look pretty nice this upcoming summer. I like this pot too. I had entirely forgotten about it until I got up there. Well, thanks again for joining me here on NotBonsai.